This video is in supplement to, not replacement of, Instruction Manual LIZ-055, which is the instruction manual for installation, operation, and maintenance for the TFT Hydrant Under Monitor. LIZ-055 can be found on our website, tft.com, or by contacting our service department at service@tft.com. Today we're going to talk about the Hydrant Under Monitor. The Hydrant Under Monitor is a water distribution manifold that can be mounted on a wet or dry fire protection riser. The Hydrant Under Monitor allows you to simultaneously or individually control water supply to a high volume 5-inch or 125 millimeter STORZ connection and a 2.5-inch or 65 millimeter gated Y, along with a fire protection monitor that can be mounted on top. The Hydrant Under Monitor is integrated with two separate valves built right into the unit. The first one is the main water main, which controls your water supply to the high volume 5-inch STORZ, 125 millimeter STORZ connection, and the gated Y, which is 2.5 or 65 millimeter. So we'll open that right now. And then the second valve is for your fire protection monitor that you have mounted on top. We'll start with the installation of the Hydrant Under Monitor. The main flange on the bottom that bolts to your fire protection riser, whether it's a wet or a dry system. This flange right here on the bottom is a 6-inch ANSI 150 flange, and it has 8 bolts. The top flange is a 4-inch ANSI 150 flange, which also has 8 bolts. On the top, you can mount any other firefighting appliance, whether it be a fixed monitor or maybe a swiveling standpipe. It's up to you. So as far as installation goes, you'll need a ring gasket for both the top flange and the bottom flange, and that ring gasket is specified by ASME 16.21 or ISO 7483. Once the ring gaskets are in place, you can put the appliance or the HUM down on the main flange, and then you'll need the proper bolts for both bottom and top flange. So let's start with the bottom. 8 bolts for this flange. You will need 3/4 by 10 bolts, or in metric, that's an M20 by 2.5 bolt, and you'll need 8 of them. And you'll need to tighten these sequentially as listed in LIZ-055 in numerical order, 30, 60, and eventually 100% tightened with a torque wrench to 131 to 141 foot-pounds or 182 to 191 Newton meters. After that's secure, if you want to mount a firefighting appliance on top, again, you'll still need 8 bolts, but these bolts are 5/8 11 bolts, or in metric M18 by 2 bolts, and you'll need to tighten those sequentially as listed in LIZ-055 to 30, 60, and eventually 100% tightened, and you'll need to tighten these to 76 to 80 foot-pounds. Now, looking at the maintenance for this Hydrant Under Monitor, TFT has 2 approved lubricants. One is Molykote 112, which is a silicone-based lubricant made by DuPont, and Break-Free CLP. Both of these lubricants are available through TFT or possibly a local hardware supply store. The Hydrant Under Monitor itself should be inspected annually or after each use. We'll get into the specifics of maintenance next. Now let's get into the general inspection that happens annually or after each use of this device. And so, starting with the gearboxes, these gearboxes are completely sealed and need no extra lubricant or tampering with. And now moving on to the STORZ connection. The STORZ connection, you just want to visually inspect, make sure everything's intact, there's no leaks. Also, you're going to take the STORZ coupling off and take a look at this gasket and this gasket right here. This is a good spot for the Molykote 112 silicone-based lubricant. It's best if you take a little paintbrush and then coat these gaskets. It doesn't need much. A little bit goes a long way. So coat these gaskets with the lubricant. Make sure they install properly. Make sure that the coupling locks in place properly. Another inspection point will be this gated Y assembly. And again, you just want to visually make sure that the valve looks okay. Did it take a collision with a vehicle or something, something that happens by accident in an industrial facility? You're also going to want to make sure that the valve handles operate properly, open and closed. And so this is a good spot for break-free CLP. Again, a little bit goes a long way. Just spray maybe 1 or 2 shots by the handle mechanism and operate them back and forth to make sure they properly open and close. Another inspection point is during operation, making sure that the bolt patterns are tightened securely. And you'll notice that if there's any leaks, maybe you need a new ring gasket or something like that. When it comes to replacement of parts, the most common replacement you will do, even though it's not going to be a high frequency replacement, the most common replacement is the valve seat. And on this hydrant under monitor, there's a valve seat for the top valve, there's a valve seat for the bottom valve, and then there's individual valve seats for each side of the gated Y. We're going to go over that next. When it comes to valve replacement, we're going to start with the main valve seat. You'll have to remove the HUM from the fire protection riser to do this replacement, so make sure you plan on shutting down that water supply. There is a benefit if you have another hydrant under monitor on the shelf. You can quickly install the one on the shelf onto the fire protection riser so that area is protected at all times. If that were a regular fire hydrant, that whole area would be unprotected and would have to have supplemental water supply. So when you get the hydrant under monitor off the riser, you're going to flip it upside down to access the main valve seat. And then you're going to take the special tool that we recommend you purchasing for this replacement. It's part number TFA Z020. And so you're going to take that with a ratchet and an extension. You're going to install that special tool onto the ratchet, and you're going to disassemble the main valve seat. This is the valve seat retainer. That's what keeps the valve seat in place. So once that's removed, take pliers or a screwdriver or a metal pick and remove the old valve seat. You're going to take your new valve seat, which is part number A1082. You're going to coat it with Molykote 112 lubricant on both sides of the valve seat. You're going to install the new valve seat, and then once that new valve seat's installed, you're going to take the valve seat retainer and you're going to thread it back in with the special tool and socket wrench that we use to uninstall it. So you take that, and what you're going to do is tighten this down all the way snug. There's no torque value, it's just snug against the seat, and you're good to go. Next, we're going to talk about the valve seat replacement. That's for the top valve, which controls water supply to this appliance, whatever's mounted on top. So you're going to take a 5/32 or 4mm Allen wrench, and you're going to loosen two little bolts, and these bolts are attached to a retainer ring that's underneath this flange that we'll take a closer look at in a little bit. So once those bolts are loosened, you are able to unthread this top flange. So once you've taken off the top flange, the two bolts that you loosened in the beginning that are attached to a ring clamp, you're going to remove that ring clamp. Next, you're going to take a 5/16 Allen wrench, or 8mm in metric, and you're going to loosen and uninstall 8 bolts. Once you have those bolts uninstalled, take this top part out. Then you're going to take the special tool from TFT with an extension and a normal socket wrench, and then you'll unthread that valve seat retainer. That's the valve seat retainer. And now you're going to have access to the old valve seat. That valve seat is part number A1520. Again, you're going to remove the old valve seat with a pair of pliers, screwdriver, or metal pick. You're going to coat this with Moly Coat 112. Take out the old one, put the new one in. After the new one's installed, using the special tool again, you're going to thread in that valve seat retainer till it's tight. There's no torque values, till it's tight and snug against the valve seat. Then you're going to take this piece, make sure that O-ring is still intact. It's going to take a little pressure and it'll pop down, and then you're going to reinstall all the bolts, all 8 bolts on top. After all 8 bolts are tightened down, you're going to take the ring clamp, place it back on, thread on the top flange. You thread the top flange all the way down till it starts to hit the ring clamp, and then you take your Allen wrench and tighten the 2 bolts on the ring clamp until they're snug, and you're good to go. So next, we'll talk about replacing the STORZ coupling, which is not common, but in case it takes a collision in an industrial facility or somehow damaged beyond use. The first step in replacing this STORZ coupling, it does make it easier if you take the cap off. So you can take this cap off, you could take the lanyard off and get this out of the way. Now you're left with this. You're going to take a 7/32 or 18mm Allen wrench. You're going to uninstall this stop bolt. Once the stop bolt is uninstalled, put it to the side. And next you're going to take another special tool available through TFT, and that's part number THA401-ST. And this is a little hook with a special groove. This STORZ coupling is held on to the body of the Hydrant Under Monitor by a plastic strip right here. And this is what that plastic strip looks like. Now what you're doing with this special tool is going into this hole and hooking the plastic strip right here, and then you will pull the plastic strip while working the coupling back and forth until that plastic strip is all the way removed. It does help if you spray break-free CLP in there or even some warm water. That will help the process a little bit. So next we'll remove that plastic strip that's in this coupling. Sometimes if you hold that plastic strip just stationary as you kind of pull a little and rotate the STORZ coupling at the same time until that plastic strip is all the way out. Sometimes you can just put the tool down. Once it's removed halfway, you can usually use your hands and just pull the rest of the length out. Once that STORZ coupling is off, you're going to put the new STORZ coupling on, and you're going to take a new plastic strip, again, warm water or break-free CLP. You're going to reinstall that plastic strip into this groove here. You can, once the plastic strip is reinstalled, you can use that tool to kind of push it in the rest of the way. Just watch your fingers. So once it's in the rest of the way, you're going to rotate this STORZ coupling until you find the divot, and that divot is where this set screw goes back. Next, we're going to go over the valve seat replacement for the gated Y. This is not a common valve seat replacement, but again, if the valve starts to leak, you'll know how to do this replacement. You'll need 2 of these valve seats for each side of the gated Y. This is part number AY315. And what you're going to do is, first of all, take this set screw out of the bottom. This set screw can be uninstalled with a 5/32 or 4mm Allen wrench. Once you uninstall that little set screw, place it down on the table, and you'll take a strap wrench or maybe even just a rag and your hand, but you'll take that strap wrench, loosen that, and uninstall this outlet. Once the outlet is uninstalled, you're going to again take pliers, screwdriver, or a metal pick, remove that valve seat. Take the new valve seat, apply Molykote 112 to both sides, install the new valve seat, reinstall this outlet, and you're going to tighten it all the way down till it's snug. And then what you're going to do is align one of these machined dots to the stop bolt. And that ensures that the stop bolt is aligned to a groove in this outlet piece. Once you're able to accomplish that, you could take that little stop bolt, reinstall it with your 5/32 or 4mm Allen wrench.